Hello, and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News channel. Now, let's actually talk about Visa's CBDC patent, and is it a threat to cryptocurrencies? My first answer is no, it's not actually a big threat to cryptocurrencies. But I'm going to explain why. A lot of people are saying like Visa is going to compete with Ripple or Stellar or VeChain or Cardano or whatever, because Visa's patent is for a centralized system that central banks can put their CBDCs on. Now, they're central banks, they're going to be centralized. The reason I say it's not a competitor is because I don't think any of the big central banks were really considering putting their money on a public blockchain anyways. We know the digital euro is going on Quarter Enterprise. Quarter Enterprise is a private solution. Now, that doesn't mean that cryptocurrencies can't partner with Visa to be like off-ramps or on-ramps into fiat currency. And I think that's actually where the opportunity is. I really don't think like the USD or the British pounds or whatever, their official government currency was ever going to become, on a public blockchain. I just don't think that the governments actually really want everyone seeing their transactions. I think they also want something that they can actually go to a central authority for, and the central bank basically has full control over. I think the idea of a public ledger powering like a major currency like the United States was never really going to play out. The most you could ever hope for was basically a hybrid of public and private. If you look at the Chinese DCEP, it is a private blockchain. It's their own developed blockchain. I think they would only trust like a really big company or build one themselves, or possibly a really big company to help them build one themselves. And that's kind of what that's kind of what Visa actually is. I think Visa's patent basically is going to help these countries to almost deploy instantly on basically their own blockchain for their token. That means there are still interoperability issues. And the thing is, like, I'm not really sure like how much room there is going to be for a bridge for countries that use the same blockchain, because Visa probably has their own technology. We know they have their push. We know they have Visa Direct. But I mean, for some of the smaller currencies, they probably will actually work with the third parties, and I think that's where the opportunity is. So yes, if you're really wanting for like these big currencies like Great Britain's pounds, euros, dollars to actually be on like your favorite blockchain, whether it's Ripple, XRP Ledger, maybe Ethereum, maybe Cardano, I think you would see it as competition. But I never really saw that as a possibility, so I don't think it's a detriment to public blockchains. And I do think like Visa at some level will want public trust, and to get that you have to have some level of public blockchains. So I do think like a hybrid chain is where the real opportunity is for these public ledgers to hook onto the public chain, to hook onto the private chain, and have like its own ecosystem that actually works in there, along with Visa and these major cryptocurrencies. And I think there'll be plenty of those communities / smaller ecosystems in the future, and each could actually be worth billions of dollars. And that's where I can see like the payment channels actually coming in, going from the private blockchain, which is kind of like the country's issue of payments, to the public blockchain on separate payment channels for different consumers and different vendors. Kind of like if you look at kind of the Australia-China kind of like provenance thing, you can see it with VeChain. Like you kind of have MasterCard for the suppliers and the buyers and like the big companies, and then you kind of have VeChain on the side for the consumers to actually trace back the authenticity of the item. And I can kind of see that where like the consumer payment channels are going to be run on whether like it's Cardano, Ethereum, Ripple. I'm sure like all of them will actually be in the game, and each will actually have a part of it. And then like the actual government issue of currency for like government business from government purposes and issued to big businesses will actually be on their private blockchain. So the money flow from the governments and the big businesses can still remain hidden. And I know you guys don't like that, but they're always going to want to remain hidden. So that's not really going to be ever viewable to us. And then like with these payment channels where you're paying for stuff, that will actually be visible so you can verify your payments. So I don't see Visa as much of a competitor as perhaps a partner that you can actually latch onto for many of these payment systems that are coming up. And it could be via logistics, it could be via remittances, it could be just via consumer purchasing. We don't really know what's going to happen in the future. We do know that Visa and MasterCard and these huge companies are going to play a huge part in the future industry. And that's almost a certainty. Actually, that is a certainty. There's no way of getting around that. And I think like thinking that like any of these new payment networks are just going to replace Visa was always kind of a pipe dream. Visa is going to be kind of the glue that links a lot of these together, and they'll create certain communities and ecosystems where our cryptocurrencies can come into play. And that's where the real value is, in my opinion. So that is the video for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe and hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.